Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is the Black Manga Critic here, and just wanted to make sure I threw out like a video about this because I feel like sometimes I will tweet about something, and then I might not get back to like people about what it is that I actually want to do. But I feel like if I put in a video, then maybe I'll be more inclined to like make sure that I'm on certain things and I try to get these opportunities. Out there and that I actually get started on them and try to, make sure those things happen. So that's something I'm trying to do right now. Because I've just been thinking, I've been having like a lot of conversations with people, with my fiance, with, just close people like on this platform, on YouTube, Twitter, all the different kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And I've just been thinking like, how do I do more? How do I make sure that like certain people, are heard, and how do I do that consistently? That's like the biggest thing for me, that consistency. Because I think that if I'm saying certain things, if I'm just like, oh, this is how I feel about this, this is how I feel about that, is da da da. It's easier for people to ignore like me if I'm talking about the experience of others. You know what I mean? I think for a lot of people, it's easier for them to just be like, oh, well, this person's talking about someone else. I don't even know who that person is. Like I didn't hear this person. I didn't hear him talk. I didn't hear him speak. Blah blah blah. So it's easy for people to kind of ignore that. And I'm trying to sort of like just kind of get that out of the way. Like I'm like, okay, I'm gonna see if I can make sure that the people that I'm talking to all the time, the people that I know, people that I may not talk to as much, but I know they have extremely valid, important things to say, and their opinions matter and that kind of thing. I'm just trying to make sure that that's more consistent, that I get that out there on this channel. And through Twitter, right? Like to share like certain, video stuff like that. Again, like, for me, it's just, I don't like to have to like say this, but I feel like, sometimes like, time after time, people are like, oh, you're trying to do this thing for clout, you're trying to do this thing for this reason. I'm like, if y'all know me and you talk to me all the time, one, I already have this like my like career sort of path in terms of like the stuff that like allows me to pay rent, you know what I mean, in the future, raise a family, that kind of sort of thing, right? So I'm good with that. Like I'm working on that. I'm good with that. That's not what this is. You know what I mean? This is like this is like something that makes me happy, and then I feel like can help people, and then I feel like is useful. You know what I mean, in a progressive way. So that's what this is. You know what I mean? That's the point. So anyone that's like, oh, you looking for, no, stop it. It's ridiculous. Okay. Just to like get that out there, I'm not ever gonna really talk about. I don't think I'm ever gonna talk about that again because I was like, I'm not doing that. And it's a waste of time. So when it comes to this thing, when it comes to like the panel participants and like making these videos and that kind of thing, like I want to make sure that I'm very clear about what I'm sort of looking for, what I'd like to sort of get done, and just kind of like the sort of why of it and everything like that. So for me, I always see other platforms doing particular things with their channels and with their with their Twitter and stuff like that. And I'm like, yo, like if I can even do that on just maybe even like a sort of not like even on a smaller scale, and if I can like bring people out here and like have them be heard and do all that kind of stuff, that to me is like really, really important. You know what I mean? Because like I think just in my own experience, like I wouldn't be where I am. I wouldn't have the opportunities that I hadn't been for quite a few number of people, largely women. Okay, so and that's really important. That's really important to note. All right. So like, and that continues to be a thing. Excuse me. That continues to be a thing. So it only makes sense that I like sort of try to pay that forward, and I make sure that I'm seeing, noting that, and making sure that I'm like, yo, these women help me. Like at the very least, I got to make sure I'm trying to help other people, especially women, other marginalized folks, genderqueer folks, non-binary folks, right? Trans folks, like as many people as possible, intersex folks, as many people as possible. So that's like a big goal of mine. In terms of the panels, like I want to make sure that I'm interviewing people that I feel like don't necessarily get to be heard often. especially within this community. This is like, I'm talking about this in community in particular. Like I kind of want to start manga wise, anime wise, but I think probably more specifically manga wise because I read a lot of manga. That's what I do. I love I love manga to death. All right, y'all know this. Students that I teach know this. People know this. Okay, so that's something that I want to sort of stick with. So if I have like the panels and like the interviews and conversations that we're going to have on this on the channel, I want to make sure that's what we're sort of talking about. But if we're talking about manga, like it's not just going to be like, oh, how did you feel about this part of the story? It's going to be like, are there manga that you feel like people, should read that are, useful in terms of like creating like, fostering a better understanding of certain topics, or, making people sort of like aware that certain things, certain like ideas, criticism, critiques, whatever, like exist, certain conversations exist. You know what I mean? And that's like sort of the goal. That's sort of the goal, right? Because like there are all these different manga that I know that are like already out or that have come out, that are going to be coming out, that I want more people to be aware of. People that I know are already reading these things, and have very articulate and have made like very articulate points and critiques and you know what I mean, like just points, right? Points about those things that they've read. So I'm really, really interested in that. You know what I mean? I think I'm really, really hopeful that these panels, that these conversations, that these videos will do the work that I feel like they can do. And I'm just honestly I'm just kind of tired of just things kind of going in a certain way. People not being heard, thinking that maybe, some people are trying to be better, but then will like take like 80 steps back. And I'm like, that's too many steps. Like 80 steps back, like really? You know what I mean? It's just I can't just kind of say, you know what, I want to try to do these things and then not do those things. Or talk about, hey, maybe I'd like to make this thing happen, but then not even really sort of put in the effort to try to make that happen. So this is sort of just like a tweet, right? This is going to be on a tweet that I've already sent out. It's going to be on YouTube. So if you feel like you want to be a part of what I'm trying to do, like shoot me a tweet if you can, or shoot me a tweet. Or respond to the tweet that's already on my Twitter. Put it in the put a comment down in the comment section below. Do that. That's fine. All right. I just want to hear from y'all, because I know, again, I talk to there are certain people I talk to all the time, right? I talk to all the time, and they know who they are. I talk to them all the time. We talk about different things like this. How do we try? What work is like, valuable, useful, in a progressive way, in a distinctly progressive way, radical sort of way. Like, how do we do that work? And you know what I mean? It's just like, I'm just done with I'm done with the nonsense. Like, there's too many things that I see go on that I think at this point is like unacceptable. You know what I mean? I could even understand it if it was like someone if it was like, a 5-year-old, and a 5-year-old, has particular ideas about certain things or whatever. I'm like, the kid's 5. You know what I mean? Like the kid has should have the time to grow and be immersed in certain things and be introduced to certain things and to learn about things and to think about those things. But if you're like in your 20s, 30s, 40s, whatever it is, I'm like, no. That's it. That's no. You gotta hurry it up. You should have been hurried up yesterday. All right, you gotta be on that. I'm like, come on, man. So to me, certain panels that I want to happen, again, I was talking about a sexual harassment stream that I've been talking about with certain people. That's going to happen. All right, that's gonna happen. I want to have a stream where I want to have different streams where I have women talk about, let's say, one particular manga. That's something that I want to happen. So I think the one manga that I really sort of want to start with, I want to start with like a first volume. So the first one is right, the sexual harassment stream. Like that's going to happen. I kind of have the like certain people that I want to be on that stream. But if you're interested in that, still feel free to let me know. If you are interested in a stream with multiple with multiple people, right? Like not limited to like women or anything like that, right? Like you can be in that stream. That's going to be a Tokyo Taradeba Girls stream on the first volume. We're going to talk about the first volume because I know there are quite a few people that had earlier last year had reached out to me, but I just dropped the ball. Like that's on me. I dropped the ball, and I wanted to have that stream happen. Obviously I got busy, but that doesn't mean that like I can just be like, all right, well, I'm going to put out this tweet and then not do anything about it. So that's on me, and I apologize for that. So I want that to happen. And then different sort of manga that, are suggested by other people, by those other people that I want to be, in those streams. I want to have those sort of things happen. So if you feel like you are a person that can be, that would like to be on one of those streams, right, the sexual harassment stream or the, streams where we have multiple people on there and we talk about certain manga that we feel like are not discussed in this particular space. That is largely like just like kind of like taken over by, not taken over, but just like the loudest people tend to be like men, right? Like cishet men. So like if you feel like, that's something that you'd like to be a part of, great. I think I also want to have like interviews where like I interview certain people that I know on the platform. Maybe I don't necessarily know as well, but if you feel like, we vibe and like, that's something that you want to do, feel free to let me know on Twitter or here, or on here. All right. So the interviews and conversations would, again, like they'd be sort of like not restricted. I think it'd be, I want to revolve around those people, like, right? Because like if I'm interviewing or conversing with people, I don't want it to just be like, oh, we're going to talk about manga and that's it. Like it's going to be like, no, we're going to talk about, maybe things that are particularly important to those individuals that I'm conversing with or interviewing, right? So that's what I want to look forward to, because for me, that helps me learn about particular things that I might not be super informed about. It allows me to like, be able to say, hey, like, okay, like I see you, like others see you, you matter, you know what I mean? And outside of like, your own like self-worth and everything like that, that's something that's really, really important to me. So I want to do a lot of that. But I think like, I'm really, really over like just not seeing enough progression. Like it's okay for like and for me it's like I want to, like that's what I want to do. You know what I mean? Like that's what I want to do. Like I'm just kind of over it, and it's just all over the place. You know what I mean? It's not just like one particular person or one particular group or anything like that. It's like it's all over the place. And it's like there's different, I won't even say levels of it, but it's just like different sort of forms of it. But that's the thing, right? Like for me, I have to do something. I have to do something. So again, just to like list them off very quickly, I'm gonna put it in the description. I'm gonna say like this is what I like to do, and I'm gonna probably tweet about it in the tweet where this video is, and I'm gonna put it in the description box as well. All right. So again, like if you're interested in doing that sexual harassment stream that we want to work on, an assault in that stream that we a few people that I know have been we've been talking about, feel free to let me know. If you're interested in being parts of a stream or multiple streams where we discuss a first volume of a particular manga, feel free to let me know about that if you want to be a part of that. If you like, right, and if you'd like to be interviewed or have like a conversation about like who you are, what do you do, what sort of work do you feel like it's important in relation to this community, maybe not, that kind of thing. All right. And I think the most important thing for me is like I don't like if you bring in like anything that's like that's like bigoted, homophobic, transphobic, racist, like any of that like kind of stuff, that's like that's an absolute no. If I see that stuff like in these things that I'm trying to do, like you're gone. I'm not dealing with that stuff anymore. Because like I had to take a break from YouTube and Twitter just because it was just like too much, so I'm not like zero, like this is like a zero tolerance sort of thing. So there is no way that I'm gonna have like say like, hey, would you like to be part of this thing? Well, we're gonna have some people that are extremely homophobic and transphobic and racist and bigoted all on here. Please come through. Like, no, that doesn't make any sense, right? So no, zero tolerance, right? If you have particular questions and there's a way that you can frame particular questions and things like that. If you're like trying to learn about certain things, that's like different. It's when you're making particular kinds of comments and you make certain jokes and stuff like that. Zero tolerance for that. I'm not dealing with that stuff anymore. I'm 30, going on 31. I have no time. I have no patience. I have no time for that stuff. Like on my platform, like on my platforms, no. You know what I mean? Like, so we gotta move forward. We gotta move forward from that stuff. So that's sort of the goal. That's sort of the goal. All right. So again, like if you want to be part of like those certain streams and you feel like you can be like respectful, right? If you feel like you can be respectful on those streams, avoid the homophobic jokes, transphobic jokes, racist jokes, like bigoted jokes, that sort of thing. Like you can avoid that and you know what you're doing. You can be respectful to people on these panels and stuff like that. Fine. If you feel like you cannot do that, get out of here. I have no time for that. I have no time for that. You know what I mean? So again, like if you're interested, feel free to let me know. Because I'm like, I gotta step it up. You know what I mean? Like that's how I feel about it. Like I feel like I have to step it up. I have to like do more. Because like I can like react to manga and do that sort of thing, and that's fun and that's great. And I'm gonna keep doing that. I'm not gonna stop doing that. But these are things that people have told me that they like to see like from my channel when I talk about particular topics, when I bring those things up, when I have people on here. That's something that I'm trying to do much more of. And again, it's like this is just something that has to be done. Like when you are constantly on social media, or you just move through this world, through this existence, through this space, and you like consistently see all of the like awfulness of this world, like it's like you want to just like crawl up into a blanket, not go outside, not do nothing, and just like be small and protected and safe and that sort of thing. But it's like I got to do something, at the very least. So that's so for me, it's like I'm doing all this stuff because I'm just done with like sort of watching and commenting, but not doing much and doing that sort of thing. And it ain't for me. It ain't for me. Okay. So again, if you're interested and you want to be a part of this and you feel like this is something that you could be a part of, you know what I mean? Like, hey, great. And that's something that I'm going to start, and we're going to work on that together. We're going to figure it out. In terms of like whether this thing can be like periodic, whether we can figure out like days and times and that sort of thing. And if that's something that we can do, then it's not fantastic. And I think sometimes like I've seen certain conversations, I've seen certain people talk about certain things. There was one where, Trent, he's having a conversation where he had like dads, like, right, like dads come together and talk about like their like experiences as fathers and what that means. Like that's the kind of stuff that I'm like, I'm all for that. That's stuff that I'm like, yo, I'm for that. I support that. I think that's great because those are conversations that need to happen. You know what I mean? On like in this particular community. You know what I mean? I think there's a lot of people who don't even realize that like there are a lot of fans within this space like that have children, that are raising them, teaching them certain things, and all sorts of things. So it's like, so we got to be on that. We have to be just better. We have to try to do more. If we have a platform, we got to do more with our platform. If we have a certain space where we feel like people can come, that space should be safe. Where people should be able to feel like they can come through and not have to deal with nonsense. So that's the goal for me. And again, obviously things take time, but for me, I know where I am. I know how I feel about things. I know how I think about things. And I'm like, I don't need 5 years to figure out how I feel about, homophobia or transphobia or or racism or bigotry, whatever. Like I don't need that time. Like I know where I am, and obviously you keep learning and you keep doing that stuff. But it's like I'm like action is very necessary right now. Like action is very necessary right now. Like progressive action is very necessary right now. So I have to be on that, you know. And then again, the community. And I've said this before. Like this community is like it's rotting a bit. It's rotting a bit, and it's like people notice it. I talk to people all the time. They see it. They're tired of it. They don't feel safe in these communities. They don't feel like they can just go online and be like, "Hey, what's up?" Like they don't feel that way. So I gotta work to, you know, I gotta work towards changing that, you know, and like creating a safe space in that way. So again, if you're interested in those panels, like feel free to let me know. You know what I mean? I just feel like this is something that I have to do. And you know, I'm just kind of over like, you know, the whole like intense sort of like, you know, I'm saying, oh, this person's like, you know, you know, this individual, like, you know, in this community is trash. And like, I'm like, that's not gonna help nobody. You know what I mean? It's like, what can I do that like actually, you know, uplifts like, you know, or further propels individuals, you know, who feel like they aren't safe in this particular community. You know what I mean? Like that's something that's really key. I have to do that. I got to do that. You know, so for me, like being like, oh, that YouTube is trash. That YouTube is trash. That's a waste of my time. You know, like I got stuff to do. I got better things to do than to do that. And like, it doesn't help anything. So, you know what I mean? Drama is not particularly useful. So I'm just trying to avoid that kind of thing. And I'm just saying like, hey, look, this is what I want to do. If you're interested, feel free to let me know. If you're not interested, also feel free to let me know, and we could, and that's it. And that's fine. That's not a big deal. All right. Like that's stuff I have to do. Like I had to do that in my own life, in like my actual life. It's like, you know, if I feel like someone's like just not trying to, you know, be like progressive in a particular, in certain ways, or at least, or just make the attempt, I'm like, nah, see ya. So let me know. Let me know in the tweet that this video is in. Let me know in the comment section. I'm gonna put the description. So again, you know, let me know if you're interested in like being like, you know, just like a panelist or a participant in the stream for the sexual harassment assault stream. Let me know if you're interested in being a participant in streams where we look at a manga volume and we talk about it, and those or a stream where you are being interviewed, or we're having just like a conversation. It's going to be more conversational about, you know, about whatever, like maybe industry that you're a part of, whether it be manga, anime, you know, gaming, music, whatever. You know what I mean? And just let me know if you'd like to be a participant in that. If that's something that you'd be interested in, and again, if you can be like, if you can avoid the whole, you know, if you can come through, make this a safe space. Make sure that, you know, you avoid the homophobia, the transphobia, the racism, the bigotry, the sexism, the misogyny. Avoid all that stuff. Phenomenal, right? Because to me, that's not particularly difficult. But I think for unfortunately, for a decent number of people, it is. You know, and again, like you got to work on that. You got to work on that. You know, I work on that all the time. So we got to work on it. All right, if you can do that, awesome. You know, so, oh man, yeah. I mean, like again, I'm 30. I'm 30 going on 31. I'm gonna be 31 in September. Like I don't got time to be like, oh well, you know, maybe I'll start trying to be a better person in the next year or something. Like, come on, son. You know what I mean? No. So again, all y'all that are here, thank y'all for coming through. Just really, really trying to make sure that this kind of stuff happens. And, you know, like, again, this stuff that I've been trying to do, but I just really want to be more consistent about it. Like, there are just certain channels that I really, like, think are doing their thing and they're consistent with it. And I really appreciate it. Certain writers, you know what I mean? Like, The Grapevine, you know what I mean? Valerie Complex on Twitter, you know what I mean? Film Critic, like, you know what I mean? Like, just, like, certain people that I see making certain moves and, like, they're doing their thing. And they are extremely consistent with it. And I think that's really important. And I'm just trying to get to that sort of level, like on like the sort of YouTube, Twitter side of things, you know. So you know, on top of like just like my sort of everyday life, you know. So yeah, all right. Again, if you're interested, let me know. I'm gonna end this stream here, and then I'll probably just like, start another stream where I just talk about, what I've been, reading, maybe in terms of like manga or whatever, and how I feel about it and that sort of thing. All right. But again, like, and I will say this, there's a reason why, like, may say, like, if I'm not in certain streams, or I'm not, like, if I don't join in on certain conversations and kind of stuff like that, it's just because, like, I just don't feel comfortable. Like, that's not to say that those conversations don't have any sort of merit or anything like that, because I know they do, but it's like there are just things where it's like I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel like, I could just kind of be in that space and like be okay, emotionally and that sort of thing. So that's why, like, for me, like, I'm just staying in my space, and that's what I'm doing because I feel okay, like, here. And yeah, and that's just what that is. So thank y'all for listening. Again, let me know if you're interested in this. I'm a Black Manga Critic, and I'm out you.